back in the town of the reacted in surprise as calmly enters in the hall. The visibly worried, expressed her concern about how she could apologize for the inconvenience, and mentioned that the situation around the elf village had become terrible. She expressed her relief and happiness at safe return and successful reunion with the group, while they stood together confidently reported their safe return from the quest, while she, though surprised, agreed with him. The shocked and concerned questioned the deteriorating condition of the world tree, expressing her worry about the increasingly violent behavior of the monsters. Astonished by an unforeseen achievement, acknowledged that they had not only revitalized the world tree but also managed to defeat the subspecies of the Ogre King, which had risen to an S rank. In a tense confrontation, she confronted, demanding to know his true identity, while he responded with a vague pensiveness. Cheerful and self-assured, amusedly announced to those around him that he was just a regular mana porter, while the other party members are shaking their heads knowing full well that is not true. Flustered and anxious, defended his actions by insisting that even the promised 30 gold coins were excessive, while though worried about the consequences, expressed her concern that they couldn't let the situation pass without increasing the reward. She admired his humility and heroic achievements, noting with some awe that he genuinely seemed unaware of the significance of his actions, which she found both impressive and a little daunting. The mission completion poster proudly displayed the symbol of success, evoking a sense of accomplishment with the image of a large tree or explosion. She excitedly announced her eagerness to witness the powerful alliance between the rising hero Lilian-san and the SSS magical power, San, as she gestured toward the headline. Alan, the former hero, confronted the group with frustration. They demanded to be released. Inside the cage, Alan, determined and resolute, confronted the crowd by announcing the hero's identity, while they watched curiously from the side with a skeptical curiosity. Alan, assertive and forceful, proclaimed that the achievements of the four members were also his, as they were part of his hero party. Filled with anger and a stern demand for answers, confronted Alan, accusing him of banishing them and questioning if he intended to start a war with the elves, while highlighting that he nearly destroyed the world tree. Accused of holding a grudge over a past betrayal in an A-rank dungeon, while expressed her annoyance, and worried about the tension, suggested it might have been better if they had waited outside the city. All that's left now is to head to the royal capital, thought optimistically as he discussed their future plans. The king, exuding a pleased demeanor, delivered a warm welcome to those returning. The king confidently addressed the group, announcing that he had already received the outcome of the incident from an emissary of the Elven Queen Chelsea. The king, filled with bafflement, expressed his confusion about why Alan had chosen to go ahead alone and make matters worse. Alan, caught off guard to speak knowing the consequences. Arya, firm and assertive, explained to the surprise of Alan that their departure was due to Alan's decision to expel, which had led the group to question their place in the party. The king stood shocked and angry on the stairs as he reacted to the sudden announcement of his banishment. The king angrily demanded answers from, wondering if what Arya said was true. Anxious and uncertain, confirmed that it was true. He was no longer needed in the party because his only contribution was providing mana. The king confronted Alan, calling his banishment a stupid decision. Despite the hero's possession of the unique skill, the Holy Sword, the party's success was largely dependent on wisdom and mana. Serious and resolute, accused Alan of attempting to sacrifice her in a dangerous situation to escape, forcing them to conquer the A-rank dungeon and lying about his departure. Alan urgently pleaded with, calling for him to return to the party with a determined intensity. Alan, the group with determination, expressing his desire for everyone to start anew, leaving everyone in surprise.
Arya, with her saintly smile masking a sinister aura, encouraged Alan by suggesting that he would soon become successful if he was truly worthy of being a hero. Alan, looking both surprised and frustrated, expressed his disbelief at the unexpected news that he would need to start from scratch as an adventurer. From his throne, the king sternly reprimanded the humbled hero Alan, explaining that the reason for stripping him of his hero status was due to his lack of improvement in performance. The king, with a serious demeanor, accused Alan of having created a crisis in the relationship between the country and the elves, while the minister stood by grimly in support. King noted that he also attempted to flee rather than fulfill their obligation to report the entire incident. Alan stood stunned, caught off guard as he listened to the accusation of having given the king false reports, realizing the gravity of the crimes he was being accused of. The king gave his. The king sternly declared that Alan would be branded with the mark of a criminal and forced to live with it forever, leaving Alan to face his punishment with resignation. Alan, stunned and confused, reacted with disbelief upon hearing the shocking accusation that he was a criminal. Alan, restrained by 4 armored guards, shouted no way. He expressed his shock and disbelief at the situation as he being dragged out of the castle. As Alan was being dragged out of the castle, the king's gaze slowly shifted toward the air felt heavy, like the moment right before a thunderstorm. King, with a generous and satisfied demeanor, praised the recent achievements and offered to grant any wish as a reward. Feeling both surprised and humble, expressed his gratitude by acknowledging that he had already received a reward from the guild and felt unworthy of such words. Surprised by the king's decisive proposal of nobility, reacted with shock, and the minister supportively agreed that granting him a domain and title was a great suggestion. Arya, filled with amazement, remarked on the extraordinary nature of the situation, noting that it was unusual for a commoner to achieve such recognition, but says he only wants his and does not want to become a. The group reacted with shock to the unexpected events, expressed boldly that although he recognized the honor, their spirit remained adventurous above all. Driven by his aspirations, expressed his desire to continue striving for greater heights as an adventurer. Expressed his happiness by saying that traveling with everyone had been the most fun she ever had. Acknowledging the king with a knowing smile, expressed his understanding. King wishes them good luck with their endeavors while the group confidently exits the castle. As they walked side by side, Diana proposed to Lillian the idea of traveling together once again, prompting Lillian to pensively consider what her next steps might be. Feeling excited and energetic, expressed her eagerness to join a party, while the calm and insightful unknown character thoughtfully considered the opportunity to form a party with after the battle. Lillian, her voice tinged with anxiety, expressed her uncertainty while remained silent and calm, observing the situation unfold. Suddenly and cut in, they demanded that both she and be included in the party with the shock of. Lillian clutched her teddy bear tightly while the Diana stood behind her, observing the tense situation unfold. Questioned why they would choose to accompany them despite being in high demand. And filled with admiration, expressed their appreciation for warm and comforting Mana, confidently declaring their belief that would eventually leave a mark in history with them by his side. Cheerfully expressed his desire to have both individuals join his party, dismissing their concerns by suggesting that both they and the king were exaggerating. Diana, with a supportive tone, encouraged the anxious yet determined Lillian to seize the opportunity while she hesitantly held a mysterious object. Just then cut in with a nervous voice, catching everyone's attention. Oh, I could practically feel the sudden shift in the room. Lillian, her cheeks flushed and eyes closed in vulnerability, pleaded with heartfelt hope to be included in the party as well. The group stood there tense as they reacted to the event, before them every expression and movement, revealing how deeply the moment weighed on them. Diana, feeling awkward yet sincere, nervously remarked that the way it was phrased reminded her of how a little girl might ask to play house. Confronted Lillian by questioning whether even she, with her formidable reputation for having defeated one of the 4 heavenly kings, could simply select excellent companions as she pleased. Diana chimed in, recalling their time at the elf village, asserted too that her mind had already been made up. Diana, with a sense of pride, remarked to the group how difficult it was to gather such talented members, a sentiment that Arya echoed with satisfaction. With calm conviction, Arya declared that Lillian was an extraordinary person and a true hero, emphasizing that she was nothing like Alan. Confidently expressed her agreement with the decision, while Arya stood beside her, nodding supportively and sharing in her assured resolve. With a calm, confident smile and his eyes closed, resolved the matter by stating that the decision had been made. Confidently announced that the 4 of them would be joining his party. Lillian, visibly shocked and flustered, exclaimed in disbelief that the situation seemed completely backward, and insisted she actually wanted to join's party. Passionately argued that if there was a hero in the party, it was only natural for that hero to take the lead. Lillian, clutching her teddy bear with a look of anxiety, turned to Diana and admitted that she was confused and desperately asked what she should do. With a playful glint in her eye, Diana confidently suggested that if truly believed in his own idea, it would be best for her to simply accept it, leaving her visibly surprised by her persuasive encouragement. with a confident smile, spoke with resolve, indicating that he was about to begin once again. The Mana Porter, Arya the Saintess, and the Magic Swordsman. The Sage, the Swordswomen, and the Hero. With infectious excitement, announced that a new hero party had been formed, as she and her companions gathered close together, each beaming with hope and determination for the journey ahead. Meanwhile, under stormy skies lit by flashes of lightning, the scene shifts ominously to the looming silhouette of the Demon King castle. Exuding confidence, laughed triumphantly and asserted that they should have advanced the front lines as he originally thought. Undine, her tone dripping with derision, taunted her defeated opponent by remarking that being beaten by a hero must have left even their brain as their body. In the midst of a tense confrontation, mocked Undine by pointing out that her plan had ended in failure, prompting Undine to defend herself angrily by insisting that the plan should have been flawless. With a determined glint in her eyes, meticulously outlined her strategy, explaining that flooding the World Tree with excessive miasma would weaken it enough for a swift assault on the Elven village, which could then serve as a base for future invasions. Gnome, hands folded and gaze unwavering, reflected with conviction that his Ogre King subspecies of which he was certain should have been able to defeat the young hero. They discussed how had effortlessly neutralized the miasma, entered the hero's barrier with ease, and performed feats that left them questioning the true extent of his powers. Seated commandingly on his throne with a serious expression, the Demon King skeptically questioned whether such a feat could truly be possible for a human. Gravely explained to the king that mana reserve and exceptional control made him a formidable force, which she believed was why the hero Lillian had chosen to ally with him, prompting Gnome to react with visible concern over the potential threat this alliance posed. Asserted with determination that they would need to push through using brute strength since tricks were no longer an option, while the Demon King acknowledged that the plan made sense. The Demon King issued a tactical order that although they were engaged in direct combat, they needed to conserve their strength by making a fellow human hero confront the hero's party instead. The Demon King, exuding confidence as he snapped his fingers, proposed to Undine that finding a hero willing to cooperate was exactly what they needed. The entire group watched with tense anticipation as a hologram began to materialize. The hologram showed Alan frustrated, lamenting that the mark on his face was preventing him from receiving any decent quests. With fury blazing in his eyes, Alan accused of being entirely responsible for the disaster that had unfolded. With a smug, confident glint in his eyes, the Demon King slyly proposed that they should consider recruiting the fallen hero to their cause. The wagon wheels roll steadily along the path, their movement heightening the suspenseful atmosphere. On a quiet bench, sat with unwavering focus, deeply engrossed in the important book before him. Suddenly, someone called out causing him to turn his head in surprise. Informed with relief that they had finally arrived at its territory, prompting the group to shift into a mood of anticipation as crates rattled softly around them. However, as the group settled into the new environment, nervously admitted that she had forgotten about their agreement to drop the honorific, prompting to remind her, with some concern, that they were now equals in the same party. As the tense atmosphere lingered, nervously acknowledged that and still preferred to use the honorific and suggested that it was time for them to swap positions. A week had passed since the new party was formed, and their first quest together was to transport the coveted White Dew elixir to the distant territory. Adopting a serious tone, asked and whether they had already met the lord of the territory, prompting surprised reaction as listened in silence. After being banished by Alan, the group made their way toward, recalling how they aided a carriage transporting the coveted White Dew elixir along their journey. Calmly recounted how the group had set out together to the lord's mansion to escort their charges, scenes of their journey unfolding with a horse-drawn wagon and brief moments of rest. When they arrived, they discovered the townspeople suffering from a mysterious illness that had initially afflicted only the lord's daughter and a few servants, leading to explain with concern that the unusually high demand for the remedy this time suggested the situation had grown far more dire. His expression determined, urgently warned the others that they needed to hurry. As the group neared the lord's mansion, called out to Diana, asking if she could see their destination yet, his voice carrying a note of eager anticipation. With a confident smile, Diana affirmed name, her tone radiating supportive assurance. They realized the imposing fortress now stood directly before them, its massive silhouette dominating the landscape beyond the fields and forests. As the group gathered near the wooden cart, the mentioned with a matter-of-fact tone that they hadn't expected to return so soon, while cheerfully observed that Lillian's daughter seemed to be doing well. Her tone, tinged with suspicion, questioned the group about the need for such a large amount of white dew elixir, prompting them to exchange uneasy glances. The Lord, his expression grave, announced to those present that the strange disease had now become widespread throughout the territory. The Lord that the doctors remained baffled by the mysterious illness. Only the legendary white dew elixir, known for healing even the most grievous wounds, offers any hope of recovery. Wearing a serious expression, explained that the recent surge in quests was directly linked to the demand for herb. Assured everyone that they would gather more supplies from neighboring areas and urged them to make do with the current shipment until then. But chimed in, she voiced her concerns that administering medicine alone had its limits. With unwavering resolve, insisted that they be allowed to investigate the strange disease, while the Lord and his daughter behind him gasped in shock. Apologized too, she confessed that although the quest was originally meant only for delivering elixirs to the mansion, she had taken it upon herself to request an investigation as well. Thoughtfully explained his determined plan to uncover the cause while transporting the white dew elixir to each village, admitting that although the original request had been fulfilled, it had never occurred to him to investigate for the people's sake. Encouraged by affirming that her purpose extended far beyond simply completing quests. With a confident smile, expressed his unwavering faith in Lillian's judgment as a hero. With a tender, vulnerable expression, softly called out's name, her affection evident in her voice. Playfully teased by suggesting he would simply call her by her name, she protested in embarrassment, clutching her teddy bear and insisting with a flustered tone that such familiarity was impossible for now. Arya earnestly questioned Lillian about her reasons for investigating, expressing concern over whether something was troubling her. With determination in her voice, began to recount how she had once defeated, her confidence evident as she revealed this pivotal moment from her past. Exuding smug confidence, taunted by questioning whether they could stop what was coming, and warned them to remember that Undine was orchestrating a dark scheme. With a menacing glint in his eyes, delivered a chilling warning, his sinister smile revealing the threat behind his words. Caught off guard, anxiously admitted that he had nearly revealed their plan to weaken the World Tree and unleash a monstrous attack on the Elven village. Confidently promised that they would see soon enough before vanishing, desperately called after him to wait, but he vanished. Calmly explained the events that had transpired, prompting Arya to remark with intrigue on the situation, while worry evident, questioned whether this might be part of a sinister plan orchestrated by the demons, still unaware that the issue had already been resolved. A man acting as the group's guide announced to the group that they had arrived at their first destination, the Harvest Village. With a burst of cheerful energy, Lillian enthusiastically urging everyone to begin unloading as Arya and watched her take charge. While unloading the supplies nearby, the guide remarked that he found their group to be quite strange. He explained that one could repeatedly accept quests to deliver white dew elixir without solving the underlying issue, but when the quest fee increased, there was no option but to comply. Expressed her admiration for his clever trick, leaving shocked about comment. Quickly assuring him she was only joking, which made laugh and join in the playful banter. Reflected that she seemed even more good-natured than herself, while the others watched her with quiet admiration and curiosity. With determination, instructed that the medicine be distributed immediately and that an investigation into the cause should begin. With a worried expression, the doctor explained to those gathered that the influx of patients had forced them to hastily construct a simple hut, yet their efforts still could not keep pace with the overwhelming demand. In the quiet room there are people wrapped in blankets, weighed down by exhaustion and distress. Arya and, their voices trembling, stammered in disbelief as the entire group stood frozen in collective shock, unable to process the overwhelming scene before them. Worriedly remarked on the overwhelming number of patients before them. The doctor reported that the total number of people reached about 100, leaving visibly shocked as he processed this troubling information. Since the cause of the condition remained a mystery, his concern evident, could only continue casting healing magic and hope that their own strength would lead to recovery. He remarked that although the white dew elixir was proving effective, the current supply of medicine would not be enough for everyone. His expression pensive admitted to himself that the situation was completely outside his area of expertise. With determination in his voice, requested permission to examine the patient's condition, explaining that he wanted to follow Lillian's example and find a way he could contribute as well. With awe in her voice, the female attendant expressed her disbelief and admiration that they were in the presence of the hero who had saved the world tree and defeated one of the 4 heavenly kings, leaving the others in respectful silence. Introducing himself as he apologetically that he would need to touch the boy's forehead, his serious demeanor contrasting with the boy's startled reaction. Although the illness was beyond his usual expertise, considered that if it was connected to the Demon King's scheme, he might still be able to uncover something important. Urgently diagnosing the situation, exclaimed that the disrupted mana balance was the reason behind the sudden illness. The doctor asked about the mana balance with a hint of curiosity, maintaining a serious tone, revealed that the individual in question possessed an extremely low amount of dark mana. Every creature possesses a carefully balanced combination of mana attributes, though individual traits can cause slight variations in this equilibrium. The doctor urgently warned that simply touching someone briefly should not be enough to determine the state of their mana balance, his concern evident as he tried to halt the process. With a confident smile, rested his hand on the boy's head and thoughtfully suggested that adjusting the balance might change everything. And just like that, life returned to him. The boy blinked in shock as though waking from a dream, and his mother's face lit up with visible relief and faith. The child, overflowing with excitement, rushed to embrace his mother while watched the tender reunion with a gentle smile. The doctor, shocked by his feat, explained that the white dew elixir could indeed balance mana within the body, but admitted it only masked the symptoms rather than truly fixing the problem. With determined resolve, assessed the bedridden pair's familiar symptoms and confidently declared he could handle their situation as well. As Arya her staff to cast spells over the entire clinic, she assured that she would try to relieve the pain of the remaining patients while he resolutely volunteered to treat them one by one. The doctor, surprised and skeptical, questioned with amazement how it was possible not only to instantly assess someone's mana balance, but also to channel the precise mana attributes they needed, revealing his astonishment at such an unexpected ability. Amazed, he reacted with wide-eyed shock as he realized that not only but the entire hero's party possessed astonishing abilities, especially after witnessing healing magic envelop the whole building. With determination in her eyes, announced to the group that she would personally assist in preparing the white dew. Lillian, her face etched with anxiety, revealed that she was finally interested because it was not just illness, but also a lack of dark mana that concerned her. Her determination evident as she sprang up energetically, declared that if mana was the cause, she might be able to detect something and would search the village thoroughly. With determination in their voices, proposed that they seek assistance from the villagers. Diana readily agreed, their confidence driving them toward the next step. Feeling encouraged, acknowledged with a determined yet slightly nervous expression that everyone was striving to do their best no matter the situation. With newfound determination, confidently resolved that she too would give her very best. As shielded his eyes in distress, Arya called out to him with concern, her voice revealing her worry for his well-being. The man, his voice edged with worry as he asked about everyone's condition, was met by anxious admission that there was indeed a problem and things had not gone well, heightening the tension between them. Before stood the huge crowd he had treated. Despite his instructions for them to remain still and rest, they rose to their feet, praising their hero with gratitude. Arya, filled with pride, told that such greatness was expected of him, but gently replied that she was just as impressive for sustaining high-level healing magic without needing to replenish her mana. Amazed by the extraordinary occurrence before them, the crowd erupted in celebration, exclaiming with disbelief that it was nothing short of a miracle. The joyful villagers raised their fists in celebration. They exclaimed with excitement and awe that, who had already saved the world tree, had now rescued their village as well, wondering if they were witnessing the beginning of a new chapter in history. Looking surprised and raising his hands defensively, urgently that he alone deserved credit for saving the world tree, insisting that claiming so was an exaggeration. Just then called out his name to catch his attention, noticing her, turned and asked if she had discovered anything. With determination blazing in her eyes, Lillian urgently announced that she had discovered an important clue. The onlookers cheered that and Lillian were an unstoppable pair, marveling at Lillian's prowess and their combined strength. Amid anxious calls and confusion, anxiously protested that Lillian was actually their leader and insisted that the other members deserved recognition as well. The girls began loudly chanting and Lillian's names. Their infectious energy stirring up the whole group while facing the crowd grew increasingly anxious under the intense attention. This urgent voice rang out over the rooftops, commanding everyone nearby to calm down. Meanwhile, outside, the two tense figures stood outside the gate, their very presence screaming trouble. One of them, his face marked with resolve, confidently announced that it was time to begin their assault on Harvest Village. The bandit leader called out to the newcomer, declaring that this was his very first job. The bandit leader, serious and authoritative, instructed the group to sell the medicines in a nearby village afflicted by disease, prompting a surprised response from the newcomer who seemed confused by the order as crates of supplies were being unloaded around them. The skeptical cloaked man pointed at the wooden crates and questioned why he was involved, expressing suspicion that the supposed cure-all medicine inside was actually fake and carried dangerous side effects. The bandit leader, laughing defiantly, mocked him with a grin, declaring that it was time to accept the situation. With fierce determination, the bandit leader confronted the newcomer revealed to be Alan and declared that, from this moment on, Alan would have no choice but to live as a criminal.